We really hope you
going to be a wild ride. What a game.
Anything can happen in March.
To be forever a champion.
How about that? Absolute madness.
It's finally here.
Oh, down! Finish! Hawkins for three. And Hawkins buries it.
Can they pull it off? The dream continues.
Trammell looking for the lead. The floater.
Got it!
And it's Aztec madness.
Saline on a run out. All the way to the basket. He lays it in. Oh, no, he believes.
Jackson in. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Houston and Bradley taking over. Caravan. We got another one at the buzzer. With 2 seconds. He's got to put it up.
Morris will let it fly. Why not? It's been that kind of night for the LSU Tigers. That three rims out. LSU has it. Morris has to get it across. Kim Mulkey in year 2 has orchestrated a turnaround for the ages. LSU has captured its very first national championship.
The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
Why the actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations, that's forming a phonic.
Good morning and welcome back to the Blueprint Podcast. This is Lowe's Moore, your host for this morning. I hope you were really excited, man, when it comes down to, I got the Final Four. March Madness. It has been crazy. It has been crazy for the whole month of March. And now, I don't know what they call April. I mean, with March going crazy and then, you know, the Final Four and in April, man. What do you call April, man? Insane? I mean, is it Final Four, Final Elite Eight is insane. It's been crazy. You know, up until this point. And you know what? I was saying to someone the other day, I don't know if you could have written a script, right, and created the kind of, particularly in the women's and the men's side, but particularly the women. I mean, if you wanted to see a matchup, right, first last year, the champions, LSU, and then have them match up again in the Final Four against Iowa. I mean, man, who could orchestrate that and then end up, whoever put the brackets together did an awesome job. And then, you know, to get to the Final Four, right, to get to the Final Four, and then you have Paige Beckers and, I mean, Caitlin Clark in the game. I mean, in a Final Four game, you know, with and South Carolina and the battle of the Carolinas between South Carolina and North Carolina State, man, it's just crazy. And then now, it didn't go without controversy. I just tell you, referees can make calls. This is just my opinion, right? As a former player, just my opinion, right? I'm not saying I'm not going to say the call was the right or wrong call to make. I'm just saying at the end of the day, when you look at, I was in such a high going back, seeing, UConn get out the gate quick, right? Seeing, it's like Seabiscuit, you got to look them in the eye and then you catch up, right? You catch up with them and next thing you're going neck and neck and neck and neck. And then, to have it end, that controversial ending. I'm not saying the call is right or wrong. I'm just saying, I would have loved to see, Paige Becker take that shot, miss or make. I mean, you gave every opportunity, both sides, back and forth, every opportunity. Iowa did the, made it happen and coming back, and then it was back and forth, and then UConn was down. They got the two steals, right? And then at the end, right at the end, right, we get a moving pick violation. We didn't even get a chance to see whether or not Paige was going to have an opportunity to make that shot. Two people coming at her. I would have loved to see. You talk about March Madness. You talk about like things that happen in NCAA championships, Final Four, right? And I would have loved to see whether she was capable of making that shot or she would miss that shot, but at least have an opportunity. That's just my opinion, right? So, yeah, but I'm still excited. Looking forward to Sunday in terms of the women. Looking forward to that championship between South Carolina and Iowa. And then tonight, man, the men get started with the Final Four tonight, man. I'm looking forward to those games. I got no skin in the game, right? You can see me sitting here. I got the West Virginia outfit on, and our women were in the 68. They played well. Excited about that. I think hopefully in the next year or so, couple of years, you never know what can happen in a year, man. Look what Ken Mookie did last year in 1 year, right? And ended up winning a championship. You never know with the portal and all the craziness that's going on, and all the madness that's going on. And I'm sure coaches are going crazy right now, right? Everybody trying to get to the Final Four. Everybody trying to get to the championship. There's only going to be one happy person, one happy team, on the men's and women's side. There's only one person that's happy, and that's going to be the one that wins the championship. So, again, good morning, right? Good morning, and thank you for joining me on the Blueprint podcast. Excited about March Madness. Excited about, a little crazy. I'm not too excited that it's about to end, right? And then it's going to be like, whoop, that little dip. And then the WNBA is going to give us a little, whoop, and then the WABA is going to give us a little. But here's the crazy part. The Olympics is coming. Wow. You got to be excited about that. So let's move forward. Let's get rolling. Let me start out with saying this real quick. Love Challenge 365, right? That's all I'm going to say. It's coming, right? I had the Love Revolution, right? A whole month where I did a podcast on how important it is to learn how to love one another, right? And then now we're talking about Love Challenge 365. I'm looking forward to that. More details later, right? And so let me get started with my book of the week, right? Etan Thomas, right? Good friend of mine, Etan, played with the Washington Wizard power forward. We did a couple of panel discussions, man, really engaged in what's going on in the world, really engaged in culture, right? And this is an awesome book. I have this book. It's an awesome read, right? Etan Thomas, We Matter. We matter, meaning, African American people, black people matter, right? You should read it, read his story. just an amazing writing. And so get that book, man. Go on Amazon, wherever you got to go get it, right? And check that out. And then my word of the week is madness. Right there you go. It's madness, right? We're in the stage of madness right now in terms of the NCAA Final Four championships for both men and women. And then my affirmation, my Pierce Harper affirmation moment, right? It says, champions never complain. They are too busy getting better, right? Champions never complain, just too busy getting better. Right? Think about what happened. I'm sure that all the teams that are not in the Final Four, right, are now, all the coaches, right, all the administration are now not complaining, right, but they're going to work and they're trying to get their teams better for next year so they can get into the 68, right? Ultimately, the 16, the 8, the Final Four, and be that only one that's happy winner at the end of it. I mean, right now it's preparation time. My old coach used to say the will to win is not nearly as important as preparing to win. So I'm sure everybody's out there trying to prepare to win next year. And then for my music and movie, right, I got down there's a bunch of basketball movies down here. I mean, Hoosiers, Slam Jam, Space Jam. We got all kind of Joanna Man. We got all kind of movies down here, and they all have soundtracks, wonderful soundtracks, good music, right? This is the time of the season when there's a layoff, like we're about to have a layoff until the championships come. You can pop in some of those basketball movies and keep it going. Let me keep rolling real quick, right? My person of the week is one of my all-time favorite coaches, John Wooden. He's my person of the week. He says, "Man, if you could take all the things, all the quotes and affirmation that Coach Wooden did, you would have to be inspired." I mean, it says, "Don't mistake activity for achievement." Man, we could all be busy, right? We could all be active, but that doesn't mean we're achieving anything. So, and he's got a lot of quotes like that. So that's my person of the week. He won 10 NCAA championships. Man, him later on him, just an amazing coach, right? I pictured when I was coaching, a lot of my stuff around Coach John Wooden in regards to preparation. So, my person of the week. And then happy birthday to my Aunt Joyce. Right. And, man, she just came off a vacation. Right. And now her birthday's here. Happy birthday. Love you. Want to talk about that vacation. Right. And then next we got happy birthday, Dirt. Man, you down there in the D.C. area, Maryland area. Happy birthday to you. Enjoy it. All you guys enjoy your birthdays. Awesome. My Aunt Joyce said, for her birthday, she got a Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme? Okay. Happy birthday. And then happy birthday, Randy. Right? To all of you guys, many, many more. Love you guys. Enjoy your birthdays. All right. Now, on Sunday, we got the game I was talking about earlier. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the one happy person that's going to win on the women's side on Sunday tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I'm looking forward to it. Woo! I'm excited. So let's get rolling. I'll show you this highlight video, and I'll introduce my guest for this morning as we talk about this craziness of basketball.
DJ Khaled, we the best season has returned. Cause I'm out here grinding. I do this for the streets, the runners. Cause I'm out here grinding. I don't care what nobody say, I'ma be me. Stay hood, stay raised in the street. Talk about about me, cause I'm out here grinding. I ain't splitting nothing with nobody, homie, I gotta get me, cause I'm out here grinding. I ain't slipping 8 days, I can go for 8 weeks, ain't nothing to me, cause I am the street.
Put my life on the line, put them like we divine. I'm on top of the game, if you like it or not. That's how I get the free strawberry sweet. You be dealing with when you dealing with G's. Let you deal with the realest, shopping like it's still December. Diplomat on the fender of the phantom, I'm the winner. I do it for the hood, I do it cause you can. Your circles wish you could, Ricky Ross, I'm in the bank.
Hey fed, heard you bringing my name up. Know you want me bad, think I give a fuck. Bet indictment now, my price go up. Came in the world thugging, leaving with big nuts. Yeah, I run with killers, homie, so what? What you want me to say? I sold a little dust. Send your informant, I bet he leave bust. I ain't scared to go, I believe in Jesus.
I don't care what nobody say, I'ma be me. Stay hood, stay raised in the streets. Talk about greatness whenever they speak about me. I ain't splitting nothing with nobody, homie, I gotta get me. I ain't slipping 8 days, I can go for 8 weeks, ain't nothing to me, cause I am the street. We the best.
What can I say? I'm a product of mine. Uh-oh, I'm in the game. Watch me do me. You get me valid name. Call this Bruce Lee. Summer, winter, spring, I can't forget the fall. I still remain a dog, a diabetic and all. All I want is my paper. I don't care what they say. Stick their tongue out when they bow their head. Cause we the best.
Hey, you knew fly before you was just maggots. I'm the because I'm black flagging. Yes, sir, the DR, the new squad. Mars is hard, we go hard. They like, oh God, they go T-double. He got his clique and his brothers. I know it's gonna be trouble. Dark boys on the black tag. See they don't black mags. Now they can't stand my black hair.
Welcome, Darris Nichols. Coach, what's up, man?
Lowe's, how you doing?
Good. Were you having a little flashback right there?
A little bit. You know, it's kind of, you get frustrated when you see the quality of the video now.
Oh,
yeah. That makes you start to feel like you're getting old when you see the quality versus what we have now.
Well, how do you think I feel? Oh man, it definitely isn't in HD. I know that, or 4K or whatever it is. Right. Hey, but the thing is, you were doing it. That's the most important thing. You got evidence. You know, when your kids tell you like, "Hey, coach, you used to play. Hold on, let me show you this real. Coach, what year was this?" Oh man, but welcome to the Blueprint, man.
I appreciate you having me.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was thinking like, man, somebody with experience, man. So I didn't get there. I mean, I'm hoping that I was one of the pieces in regards to West Virginia, one of the pieces that led to us eventually, like 3 times that we were in a conference championship, but we never could get over, right? I was hoping that I was one of the pieces that helped us get over. You know, I mean, because you go back to Jerry West, they were always in the NCAAs, and then they had that, you know, they were up here and then, you know, that low.
Right.
And hopefully I will help them make that swing, you know, to you guys experience in the NCAA, you know, tournament. So talk a little bit about that, you know, what you felt playing and then getting looking at the bracketology and all that kind of stuff and getting there. Talk a little bit about that experience.
I mean, mine was crazy. You got to think my freshman year, we went to the Elite Eight. We went to the Elite Eight. So, you know, when you have success that early, you think you're going to get there every year. And, you know, the natural progression is like, okay, well, we got to the Elite Eight, so next year we should get to the Final Four. And it doesn't work like that. So I remember my freshman year, we were playing Louisville. We were up 20 a half to go to the Final Four. And then Louisville came back and beat us. They had those guys, Francisco Garcia, all those guys. They came back and beat us, and they went to the Final Four. So I remember that vividly. And then they had a lot of guys returning for the next year, and then we ended up going to the Sweet 16. But as a player, especially when you have success young, you think, okay, so we did this. Now the next year we're going to be better. And you know how the tournament is. You never know. It's all about matchups. It's all about who plays better in those 40 minutes. And I think a lot of people overanalyze events and underestimate the process. That's why you see so much craziness go on in March Madness, and you hear, okay, well, this team didn't have a good year because they only got to the second round, and it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about in terms of thinking and projecting. Like, okay, I was here, next year I'm going to be here, and a lot of things happen. I mean, sometimes some years you don't play as well as you do the year before, right? And now you're in this world. You probably can see a little bit different now that you played, right? When you're playing, you don't quite understand.
You don't understand.
Right? Yeah. So you just like, okay, this is supposed to happen, and we're gonna do this. So now you're looking at it from the other side. You're looking at it from a coach's perspective at Radford University, and then plus not only that, but as a grad assistant at West Virginia, and then going on to a few other schools. You were at I think Florida.
Yeah.
Right. So you seeing that's another whole level. You seeing that, and then. I think we went to Wofford,
yeah,
Wofford, and then now then you're the guy, right? So you seeing it from those different perspectives, from a coach's perspective. And did you find that it was difficult, in terms of the transition from player, or did you have aspirations? Was that your aspiration to go from a player to a coach?
My dad was my high school coach, assistant high school coach. My brother's a coach. My brother's actually on my staff. So, I come from a basketball family. So I was like everybody. I thought that I would be playing basketball forever, playing in the NBA, playing professionally, retire, lived a good life. Then I had 2 major knee surgeries my first year playing in Hungary and couldn't play again. So, I'm thinking, what do I do next? It's your identity for so long, and I'm sure you went through it as a player, and then it's over, and now it's like, what next? Trying to pivot and figure out what's your second purpose, and that was hard for me, and I never thought I would get into coaching. I always wanted to do something, kind of like you and the Boys and Girls Club. I wanted to do something to give back to kids, and I wanted to be a social worker. And then, I was like, how can I stay involved in basketball but help kids as well? And when you put the two together, that's what it is. I mean, that's what coaching is.
Right.
And so that's how I got into it. And then it was crazy. After I got hurt, I went back to Morgantown. You go back to your comfort zone where you can get a job real fast. I was parking. I think that's when I ran into you, and you were doing something with Hugs, and we were I was parking cars at that waterfront hotel.
Yes.
Just trying to make money. And then, the next year Hugs was like, I got a GA spot opening up. It's yours if you want it. And I was debating. I was like, I really want to get into coaching. I was hanging around the practice facility trying to figure out, okay, if this is what I really want to do, because as a player, you don't know what all goes into coaching. So you think coaches sit behind the computer and just hang out and watch film and go on the road and recruit, and that's the small part of it. So then that's what got me into it. And, there's a quote where, people say athletes die twice. And that's, I believe that, once you're done with your sport and then your natural death. And it was like a struggle for me pivoting on to figure out what I'm going to do life after playing.
Yeah. And then, so of course, evidently you probably took the position.
Yeah. It was a good decision. Hugs was right about that. So I'm glad I did that.
Yeah. And what, that first year as a player, as a coach now.
Yeah.
You know, now you probably talking to some of the guys that that you play with.
Yeah. A few, I think most of the guys I played with were gone, but I was a GA, so I wasn't like, I was doing a lot of the grunt work. I was doing a lot of the film. I was, I would help with the visits because I was familiar with Morgantown and West Virginia. I played there. I would do that, and most of the time I was, just running errands for Hugs, doing that stuff. So I'm glad I got started as a GA so I could see the real behind the scenes of what goes on and not just throwing it to, okay, this is the glamorous part of the job.
Right. Yeah. So you hit the ground floor.
Yeah.
Using the mail room.
yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And then after that, what transpired after that?
So after that, I went to Northern Kentucky. It was a Division II school at the time, but I went there, and then the following year we transitioned to Division I. So I spent 2 years at Northern Kentucky as an assistant. That was my first full-time job. It was crazy because, I was young. I had 2 dudes on the team that were older than me. So, my boss at the time, Dave Beazle, gave me the best advice that I could have heard during that time. And I say it to some of my teammates that are now getting into coaching. And he told me, he said, just because you were a good player, don't expect these guys to know what you know or can do what you did. And that resonated with me because, sometimes as a player, you hear some former players on TV getting so frustrated and, some guys can't do what, Lowesmore did. Your Hall of Famer, they can't, it's not that easy.
Yeah. I know that, after I finished playing, between the NBA and then into the CBA, and I was got into Hudson Valley Community College as a started coaching and stuff like that. And I was like still like in shape and,
right.
and real quick, it was like I was frustrated. I mean, recruiting, I got these guys in there and they just didn't seem really dedicated, and I thought they needed a wake up call, right? We're in the gym doing a workout, and I also said, you guys think you could play? Hold on. I took 4 kids out of the stands, right? And I said, y'all want to play? And I brought them down and beat my team, right? Yeah. So, and then I realized this is not going to work, and I had to find a way, right, to the things I knew and the things I could do, how I can no longer go out there and do that. Right. So now I have to be able to teach them or engage them in how they can reach their potential, right? Mm-hmm. Which was the difficult transition for me of things that I could still do. I left in a Christmas break, because you're in a community college,
right?
And went and played in the CBA and made it to the playoffs. I mean, so so I still had some stuff going on. So the hard part was, now you got to get somebody else, what's in your mind. You got to be able to give it to them so that they can reach their potential. And that was the difficult part.
Right.
Because everybody didn't want it like you wanted it.
Yeah. And you don't remember how you were at their age either. Yeah. You remember, how you are now. So that was, that was the struggle. And that advice, took me a long way, and it helped me early in my career.
Yeah. Talk about some of the other schools you end up in, the different experiences as people understand process when it comes to coaching. Yeah.
So I was at Northern Kentucky for 2 years. Then I left there and went to Wofford. Worked for Mike Young, who's now the head coach of Virginia Tech, who's from my hometown. So I was there for 8 months. Then I left there. I went to Louisiana Tech. I was there for 8 months. And then I went to Florida, and I was in Florida for 6 years before I took over here at Radford. And this is going on my 4th year at Radford. So bounced around a lot early, but that's what this career is.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about a family. Talking before we get into the whole basketball thing, but talk about family and growing up you and your brothers, because I looked around. Of course, I do my research. You guys are legends back then, in high school and stuff like that, playing great ball. And I always admired, you as well, because, after leaving West Virginia and then, watching and following, who's coming next. Then I seen another guy similar to myself, like a left-handed, just, doing those things. So I really appreciated that. But, talk about mom and dad growing up, with your brother and stuff like that, siblings. Talk about that experience, man.
It was good. It's a unique situation. I'm the head coach at Radford, and this is my hometown. So, I'm back at home in my first head job. And growing up, he's a basketball family. My dad was assistant basketball coach in my high school. My high school coach, Rick Cormie, is like a second father to me. And it's unique because my brother's 2 years older than me. And I've learned so much from him in terms of work ethic. Just watching him, seeing how he maneuvered, getting better and better. So, we're extremely close. And my dad's, he's retired now, but he worked in a factory for over 30 years. My mom is a retired nurse. She worked 2 jobs growing up. And I think I get a lot of values from them because I never hear them complain. They're always 2 people that always figured it out. So, just growing up with the family, the mom and dad that I've had, I attribute a lot of my success to them and, what they did for me growing up, me and my brother, and, the community as well. Just, it was funny when I first came back here, I hadn't been home for a long time. I would come home for a weekend at a time or something like that. But being home full time, you just run into your family members everywhere you go, you get held up. So the first 2 or 3 months, I was like, I can't get anything done, running into everybody. But it's been good. It's been good.
Right. And did they stress in terms of your, coming up, the importance of faith and education, coming up? Because those are, kind of the pillars, of growth.
I'll never forget. It's funny. My mom, she every Sunday, she'd make sure we was in church. And then, we're old and, Christmas comes around, you growing up, you're always in a Christmas play. So we're coming home for high school games and stuff like that. And I think it's even my freshman year of college, we came home for Christmas break, and my mom's like, hey, you guys, in a Christmas play. And, we didn't practice. We just got there, and she's like, she puts the, she puts our lines. This was a high school. She puts our lines on the table so we can practice. So me, my brother, and my best friend growing up, Terrell, we were the 3 wise men. so we're the 3 wise men, and we obviously, we don't study our lines. We don't know what's going on. So we're sitting up there. We got these fake beards on, but we have our words right here. So you got to think we're high school seniors, and we're still in the Christmas play with little kids. So growing up, my mom didn't play that. You gonna be in church on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it was good. There's 2 type people that we always had other people staying in our house. My time growing up, we always had other people that they took in who were struggling in the community. So, the humility part of it, they definitely instilled in us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and, I always say family is important because, when you go off alone.
Right.
Right. And we both know how college is. You go off in this small world of your hometown, and then you into this college world, and there's a lot of temptations and trials and tests, and and then also being it's a little bit different if you're an ordinary student. Right. But when you're a football player or a basketball player or baseball, whatever it is, and you stand out, right? Yeah. The test is at different levels. Talk a little bit about that experience, because people just think it's a walk in the park. You're just gonna we're just gonna concentrate on education, play basketball.
Yeah, and you know, it's a little different in Morgantown too. Me and you both know it's a little different.
Yeah,
and it was different because, you know, like, you're the biggest attraction in the whole state, not just the city. So, and it's hard because I see it differently now because I see all the distractions that our guys have that we didn't have. And you know, when I was in West Virginia, football was really good, basketball was really good. Like, both teams were good, and you know, it was just it wasn't as difficult balancing being a student athlete as I thought it would be, just because of like what I grew up with and how I grew up. But I think it was easier for us is because we had really good teammates, and I think that's why we were successful. So the distraction part, it was like, yeah, we had distractions. We would, you know, normal college students go out and party, but we did it together. So, you know, it was like we all looked out for each other. We were always around each other. So we didn't let each other get off the tracks because we were always, you know, together. We would tell each other the truth.
yeah. And so now that you're no longer the player, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're the coach. I mean,
Right.
and so talk about, you know, what that you know, now before, you know, somebody else is the head guy.
Right.
You know, he's got to handle and manage whatever, you know, the players and all the stuff that's going on. But now you're that guy, right?
Yeah.
And now you're trying to, like you say, you're trying to help young men, you know, well, I don't say boys, but they young men become actually mature men, right? And while doing something I think they like or love, and you trying to get them an opportunity to, you know, complete not only just finishing basketball, but you're talking about leaving there with credentials.
Yeah.
Right. And then now you're trying to navigate this landscape that has changed from when I played, when you played. Now it's like, okay, it's not just going to get a high school guy. Oh, let me just go to that high school guy and let me develop him. Right. So talk about how the landscape has changed, because when I was thinking about LSU and Mookie, Coach Mookie, and in 1 year, man, she went to the portal and she came out with, you know, a bunch of players and ended up winning a national championship, right? So the landscape has changed. Talk about how, when you talk about madness, right? Madness. Talk about that, how crazy it is today to be a coach and to develop players.
You think about this, like, I mean, I can go on and on about this, but so COVID hit, everything shut down for about a year and a half, 2 years. Couldn't go out recruiting, couldn't do anything. So we come out of COVID, and the climate of college athletics was different pre-COVID than it is now. And two major changes happened coming out of COVID, where we was just zooming kids and saying, hey, this is a picture of our campus. If you like it, come on. So we come out of COVID, and you have NIL, but you also have the transfer portal. So what it's done is created way more work for college coaches, college administrators than ever before. And a lot of people aren't talking about this. And, you know, it's kind of frustrating that people aren't talking about this, is that, you know, the COVID year is going away. So you don't have the extra year to play anymore. So now when you have Lowe's Moore, who's at West Virginia University, and say, nah, I'm unhappy, I'm transferring. What happens when you transfer? You lose credits. So if you transfer twice, but you only have 4 years to graduate and get your degree, you're not going to do it. You're not going to be able to do it because you lose credits every time you transfer. So now that COVID year is going away, you don't have 5 years to do it, to get your degree. You only have 4, but you're losing credits every time you transfer. But nobody's talking about this. So here in the next 10 years, you're going to have a generation of college football players, college basketball players that transfer, got new T-shirts, new jerseys every year, got a little bit of money, but don't have their degree. And now situation like me that, you know, go overseas, blow out both knees and can't play anymore. You don't have your degree. But that's where we are in college athletics. But it's it's becoming difficult because the thing is, it's not the real world. It's not we've created a utopia, and it's not equivalent to what the real world is going to be in terms of right now. The NIL, the NCAA says it's pay to play. It's not pay to play. It's more like pay to participate. Because in life, you get paid to win, and you see some guys that are getting paid, but they're not winning. And then you see what I'm saying? So it's how can you do this NIL thing and create incentives to enforce or entice more winning, as opposed to, okay, let me get paid to participate, let me pay to play.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a whole new world. I mean, when you think about it, and I seen that they had to give something. I mean, NCAA had to give something. It's either I'm gonna pay you, or we come up with my name, likeness, and image. These agreements that we'll let you do this, either pay me or do this.
See, I'm not against the paying thing. I'm not against it. I just think there needs to be a bigger emphasis on, okay, when kids transfer, we're not looking out for the degree part, so we have to be their eyes that they don't see of what's going to happen to them in the future when they got a little NIL money but never got their degree.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you go back, right, guys and or girls, I mean, because we're at that state now that the girls at one time were graduating at a higher rate. Right. And now they're moving from place to place to place as well, 3 and 4 colleges and stuff like that. And, particularly for African American culture, right? I mean, that's not really good at the end of the day, and as much as we enjoy the game and we enjoy watching them play, I used to always say when I was coaching in high school at Mount Vernon with Coach Semino, I used to always say, okay, we win in all these championships. Okay, now here's the question you got to ask yourself. Where do you think you're going to be 10 years from now, right? When you won these high school championships, right? But you didn't go on to higher education, right? And what does your life look like, because you didn't get credentialed.
Right.
Yeah, so, there's the shining side of it, and then there's the other side that, that can impact the whole culture.
For sure. It's going to be it's going to be a generation that, but we have to put better things in place to make it enticing, or, with the credits not transferring. We got to figure something out, but it's easy when you're in the NBA and you have like 31, 32 teams to govern. And college athletics, you have 350 something to govern, and all of them are different.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, do you see any, in terms of, and a word, I should probably use this word, but is my word of the week, loyalty. Because I remember, my sophomore year I was an All-American. I was averaging 21 points a game, I was having this year. And then all of a sudden, even though we got to our conference championships and we lost by 5, they fired the coach.
Right.
Right. So now I'm like, what do I do? It was it's like, and I decided like, okay, I chose West Virginia. Right. And to stay there. And so I ended up staying there, had a great year, thinking like the next coach coming in would see, they had some good players still there. He inherited, but that wasn't the thought process. The thought process, I didn't recruit you,
Right.
And so many other kids go through those things. But for me, it was no way out. I had to go through that for the rest of my career. So it's very challenging, to determine what is loyalty. When should I be loyal? When should I step off? And then now what happens now that the portal just disappears, right? Now you got to go. Maybe they go back to I'm going to transfer and then I'm going to sit out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's difficult. and a lot of people don't understand like the all of the impacts of the rule change. Think about this, like even in a smaller school, like I'm at Radford. So with the portal, you're bringing in probably average is right around 5 to 8 new players a year. That's usually the number. So now you're buying new uniforms. You got to buy new uniforms every year, and it's impacts of these rule changes that people didn't see coming. Right.
Yeah. And so, talk a little bit about now. You're the coach. You're the man. How this experience has been for you? Yeah. Well, you said 4 years now, and you're enjoying it. I mean, you're enjoying it, enjoying the players. Talk a little bit about Radford, and I see you got Truth there.
Yeah. It's different, man. It's like when I first became the head coach, it was like, okay, it's not necessarily managing your time, it's managing your energy. Like what as an assistant coach, you put your energy into different things. Your energy is into taking care of the players you have and focusing on bringing in new players that are good. So as a head coach, it's like, okay, now you got all these different things that you're focused on. So where is it important to put your energy in that day or that time? So it took me a little bit to adjust to that, because I've been in, assistant coach mode for so many years. It's like, okay, now you're dealing with alumni, now you're dealing with donors, now you're dealing with, a whole bunch of different areas that you didn't really have to navigate as much as an assistant coach. So it was a big learning curve for me, probably like the first 2 years, and now starting to understand a little bit more. So it's just different. It's probably like just and you get to make an impact at a higher level than as an assistant coach, and that could be good or bad. So as a head coach, I remember my first year. We're on the road and we're eating dinner. We're in the conference room, and I called one of my players over. His name's B Hart. I said, B Hart, come here. I got to talk to you. The whole room got quiet, and I'm like, okay. As assistant coach, you walk in the room, everybody's still laughing, joking, and all that stuff. As a head coach, you walk in, everybody gets quiet. So I told him, I said, hey, why do y'all treat me like that now? As I was an assistant, now I'm head coach, and now it's like, oh man, is B Hart in trouble because I called him over? What's going on? So just the pedestal that other people put you on is different than what you want to be on.
Right.
So that was different for me at first, and there was sometimes like as a head coach, this kid, you can be a lonely place. It's like, okay, you feel like everybody's around you, but it's like everybody's not around you. Right.
Yeah. And I get it. I'm gonna talk to these guys over here, but they coach.
Right.
Well, and it's almost like a father.
Right.
It's different than being an uncle.
Yeah. I like the cool uncle.
I like to play your grandfather.
Right.
It's all cool. But when dad, oh no, we just not. We're not having no conversation. But yet,
uncle wants to play all the time. So
right. And I like to think that I was that kind of dad that I'm going to be a no person first. But for the most part, somewhere down the line, I'm going to listen, and we're going to do stuff together, and we're going to have a good time because we're a family. And I don't want it to be like when I started with my father, or I couldn't go touch him or say whatever. I want it to be different.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what you want, but you also want that respect. That, hey, look, man, I'm dad, man. I'm the coach.
Right.
Buck stops here. Yeah. So yeah, that's the and let me tell you about when I first became the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club, and I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I didn't know. I read up on all what it entails, and then I had to do something that there was a guy who was the executive director at a club, big time club in the Bronx, and I called him up, And I said, look, I'm kind of clueless to this. I know Boys and Girls Club. I used to be a member of the Boys and Girls Club, right? And I want to be a good executive director. Can you help me? And for like 6 months, every Monday, he used to come visit me for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then he was, what you were just saying, what's your priority? And what percentage are you going to put into that priority? This is your number one thing, and you got to break down your percentages of how, because you can't give all your percentage to one thing.
Exactly.
Right? So you got to break it out and say, what's your priority? What's the number one thing, that you need to concentrate on as an executive director, and then break down the percentages. Right. Yeah. And that's how, working with him mentoring me, right, I figured out how to kind of balance those percentages and know what was my priorities.
Yeah.
Because if you don't.
Yeah. You know how it is. Like, it's one of those things, and we used to call it the case of the Mondays. And like, you come in on a Monday, but, college basketball, we're here Saturday, Sunday, usually during the season. You come in on a Monday and you don't know what you're walking into. So, a lot of times, when you moved up to executive director, I moved up to head coach. It's like you have this plan. Okay, I'm gonna get this done today. I'm gonna get this done today. And most of the day is you responding to something. And so, that was an adjustment for me. Is okay, as an assistant coach, it's like you're making suggestions. You got opinions. As a head coach, you are the solution. You figured it out. Like so. Those responses to things that are unforeseen are the things that, took a while for me to understand, okay, well, this is probably what could happen, or, how am I going to respond to this?
Yeah. And since then, what's your thoughts now? I mean, now that you're no longer the player in the NCAA, but now you're the coach, right? And you're looking at the NCAA, and think about when people talk about March Madness, because you're trying to get there, right? You're trying to get into March Madness, man. Think, what is it for you when you see when this hits for you? Because my daughter's coaching at Stony Brook. Her and her husband coaching at Stony Brook, the women's team, and so. When you're looking at March Madness, are you enjoying it? Because here's one of my questions. Because they went to, every year they go to the Final Four, right? They go to the Final Four, and then what ends up happening is that they go there and it's like a reprieve. It's like they don't really care about the game. I mean, whether they go to the game or not, they can watch it at wherever they want to watch it at. But what's your thoughts in terms of, is it exciting for you to see? What's going on, and are you excited to see it and say one day, man, we're going to be you? Because as a player, you were there, but as a coach, talk about what March Madness and this whole Final Four thing means.
Well, right now for me, it means, I can watch something on TV before it goes off, and then we got that big window of, I'm watching NBA and WNBA basketball, and nothing's on TV.
Right.
So for me, this excitement of watching and learning right now. But this time of year is different. And, kind of what I was saying earlier, after COVID, like pre-COVID, this time of year was like, okay, let me recharge. Let me reflect on the season. Let me do this. And you don't have time to do that anymore, because your teams are built in the spring now, with the transfer portal. Like you get good, like pre-COVID and before these rule changes, you got good in the fall, signing day, you're recruiting high school kids. So back in the day, this time of year, you needed to sign maybe 2 or 3 players. Now you're signing your whole team. So it's not, this time of year is not, it's not like it was where it's time to, okay, man, let me take a break and it's like, it's go time for us right now. Like, so I have my second win.
Yeah.
I like the March Madness and all this stuff. I'm not really concerned. Like, I like watching the games because there ain't much going on, at night and stuff like that. But as far as March Madness, I'm in that portal.
Yeah. And and then when you're looking at, because I think Stony Brook may be a mid-major, and I see what they go through in terms of, just trying to get now players, your best players get launched off and they end the best teams, right? And then all of a sudden it's not going the way they want it to go. Then they may be thinking about coming back down to you. I mean, you know, so it's like, you know, which they probably should have been there in the first place. But anyway, yeah, so it's a different world, man. And whew, man.
We're just all it is. We're just trading places.
Wow,
we're trading places.
How did you guys do this year? Talk about the progression over the last 4 years and
So basically, so year one we came in, we got the job. It was still COVID. Like it was. I look back and we missed some games due to COVID. We won. Hold on, can you hear me? I think you went on mute. Okay. We won 11 games. That was the most ever in school history by first-year coach. Next year, we won 21 games and went to the CBI. What did we win? Won two postseason games. That's the most postseason wins in school history. This year, we took a step back. We finished with 16 wins. So, you know, that was a big thing, like, for us this year. Like, I thought the maturity level of our team wasn't to where it needed to be. And when I say maturity, I'm talking about, like, maturity in our preparation and our approach. And that's like, okay, going to the training room, making sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, getting in the gym, getting extra shots up. Things don't go well. How are we responding to it? And we had some guys we lost 3 guys out for the year for injury. So it's just one of those years. Like, we started off 10-6, the best start in school history since 1993, and then just hit a wall.
Right.
Just hit a wall. And I thought it was a situation. I told the guys during non-conference, I said, this is what people were saying in our non-conference, because, you know, we play a tough schedule every year. They're saying, oh, man, you're going to be fine once you get in the conference play. I said, don't assume you're just going to be fine once you get in the conference play, because our conference is really good this year. And then, you know, I thought we didn't have the maturity level to approach that the right way, and, you know, struggled once conference play came around.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think we had a question up there. Was there a question that popped up there? It says, do you agree or disagree with the portal?
I agree with it to a certain extent. I think that the rules have changed so much that, okay, now it was a free one-time transfer. So now everybody's like, okay, yeah, I'll take that one-time transfer. Now they're like, okay, well, now they approved the 2-time transfer. So now what's going to go on is you're going to be able to transfer every year. So then where does it stop? When next will it be you can transfer after the semester? You know, where does it stop? So I agreed with some of the rules. Like, I think, like, a coach moving or a coach getting fired, the kid shouldn't have to sit out. Right. Yeah, I agree with that. So I don't like the portal because I don't think they have the right infrastructure in place to make sure student athletes are getting a degree. But I don't think people really care. They say act like they care. Right. So I disagree with that when I talked about them being able to transfer more than 1 year and then their credit's not transferring over. I disagree with that. I think that it became about a lot of the student athletes having, you know, so much freedom when we weren't allowing them to make money off their name, image, likeness. I really think if they took care of name, image, likeness a long time ago, we wouldn't have these issues. Because think about this. If I'm recruiting you to transfer to my school, and I say, Lowe's, I'll pay you $150,000, but you still have to sit out. But I'm still paying you $150,000. I don't think you're going to complain about that too much. But then, you know, you're still going to get your degree because you sit out and you have the extra year. Right. So I really think it became about, okay, everybody just being able to transfer when we weren't allowing student athletes to get compensated off what they should be, you know, what they should be worth.
Right. Yeah, and I think the thing is too, you know, I think there's different levels of how you can make money in this particular system, right? Because you know the more better your performance or productivity is, those people are going to get, you know, higher levels of resources, and unless they want to say, okay, I want to include my teammates. I mean, you know, so those who are high peak performers are going to, you know, grab some money, right?
Yep.
People leaving thinking that I'm going to be good and I'm going to grab some money is crazy.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause, you know, like I'm going to go, I'm not getting it done here. They not letting me do it here. So I'm going to go over here because I want to get some money. Right. And then I think you said it earlier, the bottom line is, you know, how do I get credentialed? Right. And then so I can continue to make money. You know, you give a fish you give a man a fish, he eat for a day.
Right.
You teach a man to fish, he eat for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the concept that players need to look at if you're not at the peak level. Right. If you're at the peak level, it's like the NBA. I mean, you're going to get max money. Right. If you're not at the peak level, you're going to get basic money. Right. And so you got to be satisfied. OK, I'm making basic money. But, you know, how do I get to my next level? I have to put in the work.
Right.
Right. And me just getting up, leaving with no plan. That's not a plan to keep going from school to school to school. Right. And it's unfortunately that, you know, that school even, I think that it's a preventive measure by the schools to say, I'm not going to transfer your credits to get you to stay.
Yeah.
Right. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Right. Just look, if you good, I mean, you're not going to keep everybody, but if you good and people like the coach and like the system and like how everything is going. Right. And then maybe there's something that the school could put in place. Right. That talk about a plan for a better future for that kid that's at your school. You know, after they graduate, we know we got alumni. We know people all around the world or country that you can get into career situations.
Right.
Maybe you create that system.
Yeah.
You know, and look at long-term money, you know, long-term growth instead of all of a sudden I'm getting this quick stuff and it's not going to last for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's the society we live in that we're fighting. Everything quick. So that's an uphill battle.
Yeah, yeah. And here's the crazy part. You would think like a lot of the players are opting, right, to leave now. Even your name players, particularly on the women's side, they're leaving. You know, they're going into the WNBA, right? And you're thinking like I got another year left and I'm a part of my deal. Maybe that deal carries with them as they go, right? And then but they leaving. You know, they finished with the whole college thing and now they're going into the draft. You know, so something must be happening there that's causing them to say, okay, because the WNBA is not the NBA. You're not making that money, that kind of money yet. So something must be happening that is carrying on with them now.
Right.
But again, you got to be at that level. You got to be that person, right? You know, because if you're not that person, some of them deals not going to carry over.
Yep.
You know, but yeah, I am excited, man, for I don't know. You know, I want to thank you for some advice. I mean, some awareness, because you don't know, sometimes you don't know what to say to high school players. And I remember calling you about a couple of guys we had at Mount Vernon, and beginning to realize, because I got a call because they weren't getting recruited, but yet I've watched them since they were young kids, and I knew they were impact players as far as I was concerned. Because I don't speak up for everybody, you know, just people. I just say, you know, some people just don't have it. But there's some people a couple of guys I say, oh, man, they're going to have impact because they're just special. Right. And so you want to speak up for them. And then you made me aware, yeah, the landscape has changed, you know, when it comes to a high school player, right? And your advice was like, hey, man, you know, tell those guys to go somewhere. You know, they may even have the grades, but maybe it's a good junior college, or maybe it's a Division II, Division III. Here's the detour. Ball out.
Yep.
Right? Because down the road, you know, a lot of coaches and a lot going to the high school, they're looking for experience. So if you go to the community college or the Division II and you ball out, right, the detours you could transfer.
Yeah.
Right. So I thank you for that advice. They're in that cycle, you know, right now. You know, I don't know what the future holds, but they seem to be playing pretty well.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing in this landscape for a high school kid is to get in college athletics, whether it's Division III, II, NAIA, junior college, is to get in, because you know a lot of coaches are looking at those levels before you're looking at high school. You know, especially this time of year. So, just you know, you got to get in and produce.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. I always say it's all about productivity.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get a scholarship. I don't get a scholarship if I'm not producing at a higher level.
Yeah.
And no matter what people say, you know, you got to be balling out, man. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's competition, right? And you got to be good, you know. And if you only have one dimension, you better be great. I mean, you know, you a great defensive player or you a great passer, you know, something. You better be really high level at something, right? And you know, today, man, you could be a really good high school player, you know, winning championships and stuff like that, you know. And I'll never forget Larry. Larry came up to see a couple of players. Larry and one of the guys, what's coach that was with Hugs for a long time? I forgot his name.
Coach Hahn?
Martin. Coach Martin.
E-Mart, yep.
Yeah, down in South Carolina.
Yep.
And he's seen a couple of players, too, as well. So Larry watched along with Arkansas. I knew the muscleman at Arkansas. And he came down, they seen the players and stuff like that. And, you know, and you have to be honest. You know, they asked me at the end of the day because they value what I'm going to say. They say, can they play for me next year? And I was like, no. Right? Yep. I mean, but when you're telling the player, right? Oh, you're a really good high school player, you know, but but when you're in high school, you have to already be excelled, and you got to be playing like a college player.
Right.
Right. So I mean, you know, and I used to teach like, okay, you're a sophomore in high school, right? You need to be playing like a senior in high school, right? I mean, if you're a senior in high school, you better be playing like a sophomore in college.
Right.
Right? You have to accelerate. I mean, because that's what people see. You know, and we're just playing ball.
And it's funny, if you listen to the tournament, you always hear the commentators say, well, so-and-so was at a Division II school, you know, 3 years ago. And it's like, well, I don't understand why he didn't have Division I offers out of high school. Well, he didn't have them because he's not the same player he is right now. You know what I'm saying? So he's 24 in the Division I schools that may have been like entertaining him or whatever, saw him when he was a 17, 18. So that's why he didn't have it. He got better.
Right. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, this is a whole nother dialogue. Somebody's
like, what is the biggest difference between college basketball now and then, you know, a few years ago? I said, well, I used to get dudes from high school that had tendonitis. Now these old heads, they got arthritis.
Oh man,
that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, I'm a pop on and then let you go. This guy, Brian Williams here. I got here. What's up, Brian?
Hey,
Brian,
how you doing, Lowe's? How you doing?
Good. This is Coach Darris Nichols. He's down at Radford University. Played at my alma mater, West Virginia University. You know, You know, the shining lefty. Woo, woo, woo. Yeah.
I saw little highlights that you posted earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. And Brian has a big time AAU program for girls here in New York. He's had some heavy hitters, you know, on his AAU team, man, and doing a great job with these young ladies, especially. And yeah, but I wanted to thank you, Darris, for coming on. I'm gonna talk to Brian for a little while, and man, it's great, man. Let's stay in touch, man. And you in the March Madness, man. You in the madness right now.
Hey, I'm in the portal madness. You ain't see me on I'm in the portal madness. Hey, you'll see me on there one day, but I'm gonna stay in this portal madness right now.
Keep up the good work, Coach.
Hey, Brian, you got any questions for Coach?
No, I mean, you know, it's tough right now for high school kids because now you have the portal. You can grab a player from that's already seasoned. That's doesn't you have to worry about developing. They're already developed from other programs. They just have to fit your style of play. I would say that. And then the JUCO route. That's the second thing is a lot of people going JUCO. To get those players that have had experience playing at a much higher level than high school. So I think, that's even though, they're going to try to stop the portal. I think that's what's going to happen with everybody now. They're just all the coaches are looking at that.
Yeah. All right, Darris, get back in the portal, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
hey, I forgot your
period. I think it's a dead period now, so you can't really do too much.
Oh yeah. We can. I mean, we can still call. We can Zoom. We can.
Correct.
You can do. We just can't have them on campus.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And man, hey, I got something for you before you leave, Darris. Your brother, Darris, your brother was doing some work with Ja Morant. Yeah, man. I mean, what does he say about him, man? When did he see that?
I don't think anybody saw that. They knew good. I mean, you know how people are. Yeah, man, I knew he was gonna be this after the fact. It's easy to say that after the fact, but he was just like, the thing is, we knew he could be good. We said, the thing is, like, I think his freshman year he had crazy turnovers or something, and they were just like, for him to max out, we got to let him play through these. And so if he's at a different situation, I don't know if his growth in game takes off as fast as it did because they let him play through a lot of things that, some other schools would allow.
Right.
So, he knew he's going to be good because he works.
Right.
He works.
And I think you said something important because you see guys with potential. Right. And they just haven't mentally or physically got it all lined up. And you say, well, most coaches are not smart enough to say, I got to just let this kid just play through this. Yeah. I got to let him make his turnovers. I got to, and because that happened with Ben Gordon. I don't know if you guys knew this.
Oh, yeah.
Was that, when he was at UConn and in his first year, they knew if you left him out there, right, for a long period of time, they knew that 2 or 3 turnovers was coming, right? Yeah. So they learned and they said, okay, well, we're gonna let him play through him, but we're gonna pull him. When he make one, we're gonna pull him, right? And then we're gonna put him back in because he's gonna, But if we let him stay there, right, he gonna make 3. Right, he gonna make 3. He gonna make 3 turnovers in a row, But and then he had to learn to play through that stuff. And they were smart enough to be able to do that. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff down there. Retired teacher, 30 years, nephew, 10 feet. For Coach Darris. For a point target. Yeah. See himself 10 years. Starting point. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thank you, Ms.
Well, good luck,
Thank
good
you,
luck, Coach. I'm sure you'll have much success.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it. Hey, y'all send me some New York guys. I need some more New York guys. Y'all send them down.
Okay. I'll be looking out.
All right.
All right now.
I'll see y'all.
All right, take care. So, Brian, I got a little quick video over here I want to show here real quick. I mean, it's not the best.
I hope it's not of me.
Well, you know, let me. I'm gonna say this real quick. I'll tell you after you show the video. All right. Check out this. Right, yeah, Hoopers, New York, man. Let me make a real quick. You guys got to create a current video, right, of history and highlights, man. Make it like
you're absolutely right,
like about 3 minutes. You know, 3 minutes with a little history and all that kind of stuff like that. So when you're trying to get those sponsors and get people to support and stuff like that, you got to have a little packet. You know, like
correct. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean,
you know. Because you had so many, and then plus showing so many of the young ladies and that have come through your programs over the years that have gone on to do great things. I think that's a very powerful piece. It was good to hear from Darris, Coach Darris there, because, you know, you have a better idea. I think you understand because you're around some of the coaches and, you know, college coaches and stuff like that as you try to develop these young ladies and the landscape keep changing.
Correct.
You know, and then, you know, it's almost to the point where you got them young, but you got to figure out how to for them to continue to enjoy the game, to fall in love with the game, and not get frustrated with the game because it's changing. You know, because all the, you know, what you were just saying about, you know, high school players not really, unless you're a McDonald's All-American, right? What happens to, I think, what is it, 25 players in
yes.
McDonald's. So
yes.
After those 25, man, you know, they're no longer going to the high. They don't want to develop. And that's one of the questions I wanted to ask Darris. I didn't get a chance to ask. And I talked to my daughters. For those elite schools that are getting these McDonald's players, right? And then, you know, because we all want easy. We always want to get
everybody wants to, you know, kids that you don't have to develop. They're already packaged. Everybody wants them, but nobody wants to put in that hard work.
Yeah, and that's my point, is that development, if you're going to be at Radford, Stony Brook, it's going to come down to developing.
That's the most important. For me, as an AU director and somebody that's had a program for 17 years, which I remember when I first started, I mean, the main thing focus for me was developing, like getting, like, I remember, I'll say, you know, Tisha Hyman in third grade, she could just put her hands up and play. I said, listen, just play defense, put your hands up. And every year she developed her game, ball handling, shooting, passing, IQ, like, that was a point. That's the thing I think and my program is different than a lot of other programs where I focus on developing. Like you said, I'm going to let them make the turnovers and mistakes early. And then by the time they're a sophomore in high school, they already have a good IQ or a good awareness of where to be on the court, what to do, when to drive, when not to drive, when to shoot, when not to shoot, when to gamble on defense, where to be. So those things, those kinks are out of the way. But I get them early, third grade, fourth grade. We start working on that. Where they're supposed to be, you know, defensively in a man-to-man, help principle, zone, you know, to you know, close out. And those are the things I think a lot of AU programs don't harp on. They just want kids already packaged and ready to go. And even those kids still need development. They still need somebody to mentor them in terms of being ready to play at the college level.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, if you get, everybody want to win. I want to win, know. And I used to I coached the 12. I think it was like 12 and 13, right? When I first came back to the Boys and Girls Club, I took a 12 and 13-year-old team, and the first thing that I said to them, we all want to win, right?
Correct.
The bottom line, we want to win, but that's not the goal right now. If we develop, if we learn the game, if we learn the fundamentals of the game, if we learn to understand the game, right, and we learn to get in condition,
yes.
if we learn to get stronger, if we learn those things, the byproduct of that work is winning.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
I'm not just going out. If I don't let you play through, if I don't develop you, you're 12 and 13-year-old. The goal is for somebody to look at you when you're in 8th grade and say, oh, he could play on my high school team.
Correct.
Or he could be on my freshman team, because that's the goal. Make the freshman team, get to JV, make varsity. If you accelerate, go to varsity. I mean, but that's things that you got to put in place before you can even think about that. Right. So if I'm a coach thinking about only winning.
Yes.
Right. I'm only going to put my best players out there. I'm not going to develop them.
Well, I think for me, I don't focus it on winning at the earliest stages. Winning comes when you're in 11th grade, 12th grade. That's when the winning comes because you put in a lot of the hard work. But I think nowadays people equate winning to being successful, and that's not the case. And I play my better players up. If they're in 7th or 8th grade and they're able to play at high school level, why am I going to keep them on a 7th grade level and scoring 30 points a game? That doesn't help them to improve. So I'll use Tisha Hyman as an example. In 7th grade, she played 16U. So at 7th grade, she was maybe 12 years old. She was playing against girls that were 16, but her skill level and her abilities warranted that. Now, maybe she averaged like 6 or 7 points a game, but that 6 or 7 is better than scoring. There you go. That 6 or 7 is better than scoring 30 at her age group. And I think, a lot of kids nowadays need to understand that, Sanaya Chung, who also, when she was in 7th and 8th grade, I had to play in high school because and she went to UConn. Tisha went to Syracuse, and now doing well at Rhode Island. You got to challenge your best players to be better. I mean, we had Donovan Mitchell a couple times in practice when he was in 9th grade to go against Tisha Hyman and to go against my better players because that would make them better. I mean, obviously he's a pro, but in 9th grade he was really good, but. I just try to find ways to challenge them. I had last year I had some of my high school kids play against Monroe College Division I JUCO, so they can see the level, the strength, what they need to do, work on to get better. Those passes that they make that weren't crisp, got intercepted or stolen. So they had to. It forced them to get better.
Yeah, I mean that's important. I mean it's so underrated and not talked about. I even say it now. One of the reasons I kind of shifted in my mind of watching the girls play versus the boys play, because when it got to the now the 68 teams, both sides and stuff like that. Somebody asked me how many can I name 5 men players playing today, and I couldn't because I wasn't really watching them, because every time I watched the game, right, I didn't see I seen athletes and, people shooting and, dribbling the ball, but I didn't see a whole lot of the fundamentals and the understanding of the game, right, because the landscape has changed. But when I'm watching the girls, I'm seeing basic fundamental
pick and roll, setting down screens. With the girls' game, it's more like me and you are older, so it's more like us playing basketball where we're going to set picks. We're going to do whatever it takes to get our teammates open. We're going to play team ball, even though we're individuals and good players, but we know who the go-to person is. We know who, the rebound to do the little thing. And in the girls' game, that's why I think it's more fun to watch. People are watching because now they're, the games are more strategy. Wow,
right.
those are like, I can't. Those are like so old. They were babies.
Yeah.
Tiana Bailey, the bigger pitcher, she's playing over at St. John's. And I don't think I think a lot of people look at our program and say, "Wow, we produce a lot of players." But if you ask the kids when they're young, we're preparing them and we're practicing at a high level, like I would a college level. I have them practices and work out. And like you said, John Wooden, I'm a big fan of John Wooden because he went over, like, his practices were not routine, but you knew every minute of every second where you're supposed to be, what you're going to do. And I'm a firm believer in that repetition. My kids can run a practice by themselves if I'm not there. They can run it because they know the routines. They know what's expected of them. They know what to do. And I think that's what makes them successful, that they know, like we do a series of ball handling, shooting, passing, drills, so they can actually run a full practice by themselves.
Well, yeah, I think the key to development is, can your player be self-sufficient, right? Mm-hmm. Like if Coach Brian or Brian's not there, Coach Williams not there, and I'm at home, mm-hmm. and I got my jump rope and the ball, right? Can I be self-sufficient, right? If you're not around, can I be self-sufficient? That's how I grew up.
Correct.
I knew what my body needed, what my mind needed, because the foundation was laid when I was little.
Correct.
On the mental aspect of the game, the IQ of the game. That's why we had those skull sessions. That's why we had the playbooks, because he wanted us to look at that playbook, look at the practice sheet. These are the things that we're going to be going over when we go into practice, and then go down there so So now the coach is not around.
Correct.
Right? I have to say, honestly, when I got better during the off season, right? Mm-hmm. Particularly in college. I got better during the off season, right? Because during college, you know what they used to do to me? They used to do all of us. They used to give us a book, right, with everything in it, and say, go do it. We don't know how to do that, right? And so we go home and we did nothing, right? But I had Mr. Jones, right, who just, God rest his soul. I gave him the book, right? And then he gave me the drills. He gave me what I needed to do until I was able to do it myself,
correct.
Right? And so when you know how to develop yourself, when somebody lays the foundation of development, you know what to do. You know you need to run. You know you need to eat right. You know you need to stretch, right? You become self-sufficient, right? Because somebody laid the foundation for you.
We go over those things like before practice. We tell them, you have to stretch. Nowadays kids have trainers. In our program, we mandate that you have a trainer. And my thing is, we have to know who you're training with, not just anybody. Just because 2 or 3 days a week is not going to help you get better. You need to be at least working 5 days a week. We try to tell our kids. And like I said, at the young age, and we're talking about at the 3rd and 4th grade level, we're preparing them to play, like you said, to make their high school teams, their whatever school teams, and then eventually playing college. The goal is to go to college. That's the goal of our program. Whether you play basketball or not, but the mindset is academics first, then athletics, go to college,
right.
Get a degree.
Yeah.
And if basketball is a tool that can help you financially get to where you need to get to, that's what's very important.
Yeah. Do you have what's your if people want to donate, if people want to learn more about Hoopers New York, is there a website?
We have our Twitter. Our Twitter is Hoopers _NY. And then if you want to know, and my Instagram is at Brian BRYAN 8287, and then I have my Facebook is that my Facebook is Brian Williams with a Y, BRYAN Williams, and then our website is New York Hoopers, nyhoopers.com if you want. But and the thing about it is, unlike other programs that cut kids, if you want to be there, I'm not going to cut you just because of your skill, because I believe we can make you better. I believe we can get you up to par. But you have, the kids that come to us, they want to be there. And I don't say, well, they're not good, because I've told people, I've had kids that weren't good in 3rd and 4th grade, and by the time they're in 10th and 11th grade, they're like, top 100 ESPN. So that's what I think a lot of people look at. I look at 3 years from down the road, or 6 years down the road, how good this kid is going to be. I mean, when Smiley brought his daughters to Carice and Kirsten, and he said they were going to be cheerleaders, and I said, "You guys are basketball players, man. They're going to be basketball players." And he was laughing at me. He didn't believe me. And I said, "Listen, they have the genetics, they have the gene pool. They're going to be ballers." And sure enough, that's what happened. I believe it's, if you're a basketball family and your daughter wants to play basketball, eventually it's going to kick in. That's just what happens. But, you have to have somebody that's willing to be patient, like myself, who's going to be patient and work with them and get them to where they need to do. But I do want to start a program for kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd, and 3rd grade. So that's what my next thing is to do, is work on those kids, because I think COVID kind of reverted us backwards. But I went to a little program in Pelham that my daughter works, Asia works, and I was astonished about how many boys and girls at that age, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, that wanted to play basketball, and they were pretty good. They went 2 times a week for an hour, and you just did drills, and I was shocked. And they were using a big ball. They were using a men's ball. They weren't using some little kiddie ball. They were shooting on a lower rim, showing them the proper form, showing them, different things, passing. I was very, very impressed by that. And so that's something that I do want to do.
Yeah. And our final thoughts here. Check the, I want to ask you a question. Do you think your girls, like the March Madness, now the Final Four, do you think are they watching the games? I mean, are they watching it?
Oh, definitely. Like we have practice. I have practice today from 1:30 to 3:30 with my high school kids, and that's just something that we discussed, that they watch women's basketball. That's a must, especially during March Madness. And then we take the younger kids to a Liberty game once a year. We're trying to go to Indiana, the opening with the Liberty, but with Caitlin Clark. I believe she's gonna be the first draft pick, Indiana. Yeah. So I don't know how that's gonna go, but every year we go to a game, and they get to see, some of those kids dream of playing in the WNBA. I mean, you get a kid like Sonia Citron, who went to Ursuline, who's now at Notre Dame thriving. I mean, who knew? I know Sonia since like fourth and 5th grade, and she some of these kids just have it. You can feel it. Like I said, with Letitia, I knew. Sanaya, I told people laughed at me when she was in 6th grade. I said, this kid's going to be playing in the WNBA. And she played for the Dallas Wings. Mm-hmm. So, I tell a lot of people that, dreams can come true, and you just got to work at it and be willing to sacrifice and put time.
Yeah, and because I believe this. I'm a believer in this. That when you watch the game, I can tell you can get on the floor and practice it, right? And then I tell you to go watch it, go watch the game, and when a person's taking setting a pick, and how a person is using the pick. How a person sets up for their jump shot, how the person handles the basketball. We are visual people.
Correct.
So the more we see it, the more we get it, right? the more we see it and get it in our mind, the more it shows itself out physically. Right. So, yeah, man, I want to thank you for what you've been doing for a long time now. I want to thank you for the patience all these years, man. And I want to thank you for your dedication, man.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. I mean, you know, coming from you, I mean, you've been in basketball for a long time. I mean, that's Mr. Couch. I mean, that's like a mentor to me.
Yeah.
You know, he's and Munch on the right, he's involved in women's basketball. I didn't, and the funny thing, Lowe's, I didn't get into this, you know, and my wife kind of forced me into it. So I blame her for all of the success because, you know, when my oldest daughter was young, maybe I want to say like in 4th or 5th grade, you know, she was playing CYO, and the guy that was coaching really didn't know anything about basketball. And she said, well, you got to do something. You know what you're doing. And the next thing I know, I was helping out. Then 2 weeks later, I was coaching a team. So, and then after a while, all these parents or you know, of girls started coming to me and asking me, you know, would I coach them? And I felt that Westchester especially didn't have an identity. You know, you have New York City, you have the Gauchos, you have Exodus, you have Riverside, you have, you know, New Heights. But Westchester really didn't have an identity for girls basketball. And I just felt like there was a need that now a lot of kids in the northern Bronx, Westchester, upstate area, in Connecticut didn't really have to go to New York City to be successful. Right. So that was one of the things that I wanted to do, but my wife, you know, you got to blame it on my wife. She's the one that started all of this.
I want to thank you for giving Westchester an identity, you know, for that as well. And you've been around some. I had a picture of some great coaches you were around. If we show that before we get off here, yeah.
Oh yeah, Tony, Gino. Wow, I don't know how you got these. Oh well, must have off the Vivian Stringer. I mean, these are great people that I've got to know and talk to and ask for advice. And they always told me, just keep doing what you're doing. You know, you're doing a great job for the community. And that's the one thing I want people to know. I don't do it for self, you know, I do it because I want to, when these kids graduate high school and they sign their letters of intent to go to college, whether it be Division I, II, or III, or NAI, JUCO, that's the satisfaction that I get, that their families are able to, you know, have their daughters go to college and not pay or pay very little.
Yeah.
For college. That's the most important thing. And then, you know, I've had young ladies come back to me that have their own daughters now that are playing for me, which is crazy.
That circle keeps going around. But thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and coming on, man. I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you.
Tell wife and family I said hello, and don't forget tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
tomorrow.
Going to South Carolina. I'm a big Dawn Staley fan. But
yeah, me too.
My wife's from Iowa, so she's going for Caitlin Clark.
Oh, division in the house. Yeah, tomorrow at 3 o'clock is the championship. Yeah, and then tonight, don't forget about the men's Final Four tonight, this evening. I'm sure it's starting at 7 o'clock. Right, we get to see the first game and then the game after that.
Yeah, got to go for UConn, so we gotta go for that.
Yeah, got to go for UConn. Yeah. But thanks, Brian. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Lowe's, and say hello to everybody.
I will. Yeah, and for all those who support. Oh yeah, go ahead and finish.
No, I said, you know, say hello to the wife, family, and you got grandkids now, and you know, so we know.
Oh, no problem. I thought I heard some screaming upstairs, but
oh no. No, that's two of them. So they're in the house.
Oh, nice.
One is 5 and one is 18 months. So all girls in this house, man.
Enjoy. I got one boy. All the rest of them girls. I mean,
future basketball players. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. All right. Thanks, man. And
thank you.
To each and everyone out there who support the Blueprint Podcast each and every week, I thank you for your support. Look forward to seeing you next week. Right. And, you know, I'm excited about it. And as I say each and every week, and this is a quote from the great John Wooden, right? If God allows you to wake up tomorrow, Make tomorrow your masterpiece. God bless you, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint Podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's More and on Facebook at Lowe's More Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke. I ain't buying it like I'm broke. Insufficient funds for insignificant.